It is commonly recognised that any business's most important asset is its people. But how do you account for this asset? That is, measure employer performance. What are the common traps in performance management? To examine the most common pitfalls in implementing comprehensive performance measurement and management systems in the private and public sectors, joining us now is Monty Sacher, Managing Director of Sacher and Associates. He's talking with Brett McLeod.
One of the most common pitfalls is that we don't measure all the stakeholders that are necessary to optimize a business. The various stakeholders are owners and shareholders, customers, suppliers, and employees. All of those groups are being measured, but employees are not as well. The measurement systems in large organizations are pretty much geared around the needs of management and the senior people. And our experience, and we do measure the appropriateness of which people believe they are being measured in organizations. And what we find time and time again is that the closer you get to the people actually doing work, the worse the measurement is.
Okay, so what's the importance of those people being measured properly?
Well, those people are actually adding the value, and they can actually affect the performance measures. They can do something about it. They can actually improve the business. Now, the managing director sitting at the top, having his finger on the pulse of what's going on in costs, can't do much about costs. A lot of his information is historical, whereas the worker on the shop floor or out in the field or in the office, if that person understood more about costs, for example, then that person would be motivated to reduce those costs. So here we have the people who can actually reduce costs because they're expending the money in the creation of value, don't have any financial information, and the people at the top who have the financial information can't do anything about saving costs. An enormous amount of resourcing and energy has gone into giving them the information and the measurement that they require to feel like they're in control of the business, and very little resourcing at all is spent on ensuring that the workforce have the measurement that they would consider to be appropriate and motivational in terms of achieving the results that the organisation needs. It's pretty much like a sporting team where the owner and the coach and the captain understand exactly what's going on, but they don't tell the players.
So the players need to know in order to perform properly on the field?
Yes, that, and also they need to know in order to want to be able to perform properly on the field. Let's look at measurement as it relates to pay. The managing director would have share options and this options and that options, and behind those share options would be a very, very sophisticated measurement system. At the workforce level, no matter what they do, they may or may not get 3%. Therefore, they don't even want to improve costs, improve the business, etc. And if they did want to, they would need the measures to know how and where to improve. So they don't want to because they're not being measured. And even if they did want to, they can't because they're not being measured. You know, you've heard the old saying, what gets measured gets done.
So you're saying it's not only just the amount of information that's accessible to people at the coalface or on the playing field, it's also the quality and relevancy of the information?
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good question, because there's lots and lots and lots of information. But the workforce will tell you that it's not relevant, it's not accessible to them, and it's not easily understood. And when there is the information that they're acquiring there, it's usually surrounded by a lot of noise. Managers need to understand that a lot of workers, a lot of people where the value is being added, don't have files, they don't have desks, and if you show them a bit of information that they don't understand, they're not going to work it out. So you've got about 30 seconds to show them some basic measures, and if they don't understand that, or they don't think it is relevant, and that's really the problem. That if they don't think it is relevant, then those measures aren't going to be effective. So what organizations do, in effect, they take their information as it is relevant to more senior levels, and they give it to the people doing the work, because the systems are geared up to give the total picture and not as it applies to people in the various relevant sections. So there's an information explosion and the absence of relevant, accessible, easily understood information that tells workers what they want to know, which is, how am I doing? How is my team doing? Am I getting better or worse? If I do well, will you know about it?
And just quickly, I want to touch on another area where you see some common pitfalls when it comes to measurement, particularly relevancy, and that's customer satisfaction.
Customer satisfaction, the same theme would apply here. Customer satisfaction measurement is best at the point where we meet the external customer. And yet that's where we're spending all our time concentrating our measurements, and that's also not the point where we can have the biggest impact. Let's say, for example, a customer requires delivery in full on time, say 90% of the time. In order for that to occur, sales would have to, or distribution would have to deliver to that customer. They'd have to get the goods from the production department, who'd need raw materials from the warehouse, who'd have to get it from the stores, who would buy it through a purchasing department. Now, in order for that product to be delivered on time to the customer, everybody in that chain would need to deliver their bit of value on time. Now, if you look at it from a measurement point of view, the purchasing people would have absolutely, in a lot of situations, a lot of companies are pretty good at this stuff, so we're just generalizing here, but purchasing would have absolutely no idea on the delivery standards from their suppliers all the way down the chain. So in order to have good external customer service measurement, you've got to have good internal customer service measurement. And people in organizations need to understand that they are working for, everybody's working for a customer, even if that customer may be external. I saw a cartoon the other day which just describes this problem exactly. The guy's coming home from work and his wife's saying as he walks in the door, "Did you have a good day at the office, dear?" And the next picture he's saying, "Yes, I had a wonderful day at the office." And she said, "Why was that? Did you make a big sale?" And he said, "No, but I really stuck it up engineering." And this is the kind of thing that's happening. There's a war going on between the warehouse and production. Everybody's blaming everybody else because we don't have a measurement system in place that says, look, this is what I require of you. This is when I require it. That's what the external customer requires. And let's work all the way down the chain so we can ensure that the value-added chain is not breaking down anywhere. But in the absence of this measurement continuum, we get what I call a blame-fixing chain, where sales is blaming production and production is blaming maintenance, and in maintenance, mechanical is blaming electrical. Here's a specific technical example if you've got some technical listeners there. If your job is to make a bit of plant available, what should happen there is the mechanical and electrical people are usually at war with each other because they're thinking functionally, as in I'm a mechanical person, you're an electrical person, should be measured in terms of their combined results in making the plant or the car or the motor car available. Because the customer doesn't want to know when the plant's not available or they go pick up their car after it's been serviced that the problem was mechanical or electrical. But that's often how we measure. Now, if we could then take both these mechanical and electrical groups and put them in a team and say, listen team, your job is to make that plant available. Now we'll measure you accordingly to your production customer who needs that plant available to manufacture his goods, and we will measure you in accordance with how you're delivering the goods to your customers. Then what that would do is it would encourage teamwork and encourage people working together, and your customer service chain will be less likely to break down in that area. And if we follow that principle all the way, you'd end up with external customer satisfaction.
Monty Sacher, Managing Director of Sacher and Associates.